Welcome back, everyone. It's Evan57 here. I am back on World of Van Helsing, Deathtrap. It's an interesting spin-off game. Lots of easy achievements, some a little bit more difficult. Today, I will be providing you a achievement guide for the achievement What We Do in the Shadows. So this achievement, you have to complete a Tier 2 map without directly damaging a single monster as the marksman class. Now, normally I would have done this and unlocked the achievement at the same time, but I did it already. I'm going to show you how to do it. So this is a little bit harder than the previous achievement that I gave you a guide to. The reason for that being is you cannot do any damage yourself. So you can see how my skills are set up right now. And I have damage in one skill, which if I had more gold, I would respec the points and put everything into trap boosts. But it's key that you have the essence trap sigil maxed out. Trap boost, if you have, is great. And then just your targeting expertise and ballistics talent are very helpful in my opinion as well. The other thing you want to do is decrease construction cost of all traps and increase the starting amount of essence that you have. Now you'll see my character is level 37. This is the approximate level you will get to after beating all of the tier 1 maps with 1 to 2 stars. And if you do a couple of the quests for the maps, you'll get more trap points. If you have more trap points, the key traps you're going to want to buy are going to be your damage dealing traps. So up to the level that you can get at this point, you're going to want your werewolves, you're going to want your gun sentries. If you have it, the Olympus pillar is an extremely badass trap, and then any remaining points, go ahead and spec into your lava grills, and if you have a few left over, maybe the icicle trap. With that being said, the last thing is going to be your gear. Use whatever the best gear is that you have. I did have one ancient item. I got really lucky and I found an ancient belt. But other than that, all my gear is just regular gear with a few rune stones that I collected along my journey. Let's go ahead and get started. The easiest way to do this is to select the very first map. You'll have to be on tier 2 and go ahead and set it to difficulty normal, then start battle. There's no point in you trying to play on hard. It's just aggravating that you really don't need to do. So mainly the reason why this is so difficult is because you can't do a single point of damage. And some people say it's very easy to do. It would honestly depend on the gear that you got. If you found throughout your playthrough a lot of ancient or a lot of godlike gear, or had godlike gear on another character and transferred it over, that would make it even easier to do. But without those particular items, it's a little bit difficult. So in order to do it as quickly as possible, go ahead and put it on 2x speed, and you're going to want to buy a few key traps. The Olympus pillar is pretty much the best trap you can get. If you don't have it, I would suggest using the Phoenix pillar instead. Buy the Olympus pillar and buy your gun sentries. This is going to be pretty much your last resort, stand your ground situation. So put 1 point into the 3 attributes of the gun sentry. Nothing in the Olympus pillar yet. Now you're going to want to keep the enemies under damage as much as possible here. Go ahead and build another gun sentry with points into each category right there. And we're going to do almost the same thing, but we're going to completely block off the right side. We're going to build this enhancer beacon right here. A acid geyser right there. Gun sentry again, points in all 3, and the Olympus pillar. Right here, a lava grill with damage over time. We can come back and build more traps there as well. And then just to get the ball rolling, you're going to want a gun sentry with points in 1 and points in 2. should have about 140 essence left. If you have about that, build a lava grill with tick damage, and any remaining essence, go ahead and spend on your gun sentry. Well, you're now as ready as you're going to be. Remember, you cannot do damage directly to a single enemy. That's why it's difficult to do. Just go ahead and start the wave.
Wave started.
And you're going to kind of have to use yourself as a bit of a tank, a roadblock per se. That's why we have the lava grill right here. Now, as soon as they start to come into range, make sure that you use your essence trap buff. If you have it upgraded, it'll last longer. Not only will it give you more essence, but it'll make the traps do more damage. You can also use your damage over time ability, and you can use your trap boost. So what you want to do is you want to kind of keep the harpies busy and use yourself as a shield. It seems counterproductive, but you might have to use a health potion. It works though, even against these armored guys. Try, if you can, to keep them on that lava grill, because they'll take a crap ton of damage over time from the lava grill. Remember, you don't have to do this flawlessly. You have 20 lives. All you have to do is complete it. There is literally nothing that says that you have to do it without losing a life or anything like that. You just cannot do damage personally. So you can use your character as a roadblock, just like I'm doing right there. You see, I'm going to block these monsters so that they stay within range of the Olympus pillar and that gun turret that I built. You may have to use more than one health potion. If some enemies get through, don't worry about it too much. Like I said, you probably are not going to do this as a flawless run, but it is okay. It doesn't matter. Just use your buffs as frequently as you can in order to deal as much damage as you can. Well, not as you can, but as your traps can, I should say.
Wave completed.
Alright, so technically the first wave's done. This is actually the hardest wave. So go ahead and max out your gun sentries. You're going to do the same thing on both sides. Max out your gun sentries. The slow effect is less important than the damage effects. As you can see, this side was pretty much good just by these traps right here. So you can, if you have a limited amount of essence left, just go ahead and put 2 points into the damage and start the wave again. Remember, this first map only has 3 waves. Now, when I first did this enchantment, I did the exact same thing, or not enchantment, but achievement, and I actually was able to do it flawlessly. So it is possible for you to do flawlessly. It's just very difficult for you to do flawlessly. You'll see that the right side pretty much stays blocked off. It's really, really easy to block off that right side because it has the enhancer beacon on it. If you had more trap buffs unlocked than I do, of course that'll help even more. But it's okay if you don't. There's going to be one more trap you want to buy, and that's right here. You're going to want to build an acid geyser there. Now, the reason why you're going to want to do that is because it really will help with any enemies that get past you, at least any ground enemies. Might not help very much with flying enemies, but you can kind of tank them. Now you're going to see we get a couple enemies that'll make it through from the right. So you want to upgrade the Olympus pillar. Make sure that it's upgraded as much as you can actively. But now, since I have that acid geyser, I don't have to worry quite as much about the little things on the ground getting past me, because that acid geyser will kill them and put a debuff on them. Upgrade the damage on your Olympus pillar, because this is literally your killing field. Everything else is basically just to weaken the enemies. It's also important to keep a fair amount of essence on hand, and if you have extra, build the icicles right behind you. The icicles are not necessarily necessary, but they are very helpful. As you can see, you get armored, and the gun sentries don't do much against armored. You could use a razor launcher, but the razor launcher doesn't really do very well against flying, and that's why we have the Olympus pillar. So now we can afford to go ahead and just make sure the traps are upgraded, and you want to put tick damage on whatever you can. Since we have a lot of flying, go ahead and build an Olympus pillar there. Get the party started up here with an acid geyser. If you think you're going to have enough, put a point into number 2 and make sure that this gun sentry is upgraded. Should leave you somewhere around 100 essence. And you want to focus as much as you can into the debuff on that trap and up your gun turret right there. Then build a secondary line of defense with a gun turret right there. That should pretty much kill everything that comes from the right. Go ahead and start the wave when ready.
Great. Just when I wanted to open a bottle.
Now you'll see, if you look at the mini-map in the upper right-hand corner, pretty much all of the enemies, and I can open the map and show you, which in single player it pauses the map, pauses the game, nothing is getting through on the right side. You basically literally don't even have to worry about the right if you do this. Use your essence buff whenever possible to gain a little bit more essence, because you're going to get hit pretty hard from the left side. Left and center are very annoying. If you can, make a run for it to this lightning, or Olympus pillar, and upgrade it as much as possible. Go ahead and buff that gun sentry. And I do understand if you don't have the Olympus pillar unlocked, this will be more difficult for you to do. If you don't have it unlocked by the time you play through the 13th map on your first playthrough, don't worry about it too much. Replay the last map on like easy or normal on tier 1, and you should very easily be able to unlock the Olympus pillar because you get a ton of starting essence. As you can see, that gun sentry and the Olympus pillar are just going to town on it. If you want, you can come up here, try without dying to go ahead and upgrade that acid geyser, just so that it puts a little bit more of a debuff on the enemies. And we're almost done. 20, roughly 20 enemies left. And I see on the right side, go to that unupgraded gun sentry, upgrade it as much as possible because the boss comes from the right. Since the boss is currently under attack, you can use your area of effect hit to deal additional damage with damage over time effects. That'll help out greatly. But I'm still going to wait here in the center. Yeah, I know the boss is going to get through. I'm not really worried about it because when it gets here, it'll die. Go ahead and buff the gun sentry. And as you can see, wave complete. I got 2 stars on it. I could have technically gotten 3 stars. Relatively easy to do. Collect your reward and your achievement will pop. Now, normally you'll get the whole achievement notification. I did it already, so as you can see, I have the achievement unlocked, What We Do in the Shadows. 25 gamer score, relatively easy to do, takes a little bit of prep for, but can basically be done once you are ready in less than 15 minutes. Should be able to get this on your very first try. If you're doing it lower level and unprepared and had difficulty for it, well, that's why, because you were unprepared. So hopefully you enjoyed this guide. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please leave a comment. Otherwise, go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe for more content, share the video. Until next time, stay frosty.